So until I see the first question, I'm just going to tell you how my Valentine's Day was. Um, Brittany got me a very nice card, and it was very touching and very personal. And we went out and we did some fun stuff. But the card, she got like the perfect card. Like it was just really really sweet. So I'm just something I kind of was thinking about this morning. Um, but how was your guys' Valentine's Day? Just give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Are we dating new guys? Are we like getting serious with them? Where are you guys with your track right now, with your journey, with men, with women, wherever you may be, wherever you may fall on the spectrum? Michelle, why does a guy open up to you? Thanks for the question, Michelle. Why does a guy open up to you, but then say if we hang out, it's just friends? I don't know exactly what you mean by opening up to you. I'm just going to assume that this is a guy that feels comfortable with you. The way people classify what opening up means is going to change for a lot of different people. And what I mean by that is sometimes uh, you're you've got maybe rose-colored glasses on. It's just really exciting when you're in front of a new guy and he's talking to you. So you don't really know how if he's really opening up, but you like to think that maybe he is in the beginning. You just don't know what you're getting from the very beginning because you don't know this guy yet. Guys have a way of um, really putting that best foot forward, and they do that because they want to get you in their sphere to kind of see what they're working with. Just besides like what they can see, it's okay, what's going to be happening with our interactions moving forward. So um he might just not be feeling a spark. Maybe there was interest. Maybe he's like, I can trust this girl. You've got that trustworthy quality. I'm a little tongue tied. Take a quick sip of coffee. Oh, caffeine. There we go. But then, you know, if he's putting out that marker like, oh, we're just friends, it's just something that people do when they're feeling vulnerable, yet um, they don't want to let out too much. They don't want your expectations to be sky high for what this is. Because now, if it's a date and he's being vulnerable, then he's in a real mess because now he's got to meet these expectations of what the date's supposed to be and all of these other things. So don't be surprised if guys open up and they do what we call self-disclosure. They're going to give you some personal information about themselves so that you feel comfortable in order to see if you're going to disclose some information about yourself that maybe you wouldn't normally when you first meet someone. And it depends on the situation, but it's kind of a test, it's kind of like the intimacy game. It's kind of it's an exchange just to kind of feel out what people are working with and what they're getting into. So just because he's saying just friends doesn't mean it's just friends and that's all it's gonna be. It's just putting marker down saying, hey, I'm trying to manage your expectations here. I think you're cool. I'd like to talk to you a little bit. Let's see where we go from there. So, Michelle, I hope that kind of gets you in the right place. You're in a good zone. He's not throwing out weird, wishy-washy, gray area stuff yet from just your question. I feel like you would have mentioned some of that. So keep it real. Um, let's see here. Okay, so Eli, how to build trust on the start of a relationship with a man who just had one relationship in his life, and that one person, his ex, cheated on him. Who? So that that's a very loaded situation there, right? So the one time this guy put himself out there, the one time, which was probably really hard, because I can tell you that first time is really hard, that ended up in someone cheating on him. You're dealing with someone who probably is in the headspace of never wanting to trust anybody again. So because of that, I would be very leery of him wanting to jump into a relationship with you. I feel the healthy way for him to go about it, if he can even get himself to a place of doing this, and I don't think this is a guy's or person's, but really a guy's inclination to do, is to have a conversation with you about it and just disclose, say, hey, look, I had a bad situation. He wouldn't maybe get into all the details, but clearly he's let you know that someone cheated on him. Um, I would just say that tread lightly, go very slowly, really lower your expectations of what this is with the guy. I would even recommend just being friends with him for a while. Don't get involved with him romantically. Let things just go there naturally, even if it's months and months and months. As long as you guys are enjoying each other's company, there's no reason to hold the expectation that you guys are together and, yeah, I got him locked down and he's got me locked down and we're moving in the right direction. I really feel, when people get hurt like that, when they can see one solid example of someone that they can trust, and every step of the way you've just been super consistent with what you said you would do, and I'm talking about like just showing up for a date on time. We're talking about the simplest of things here. When you can show a steady track record of that over a long, and this is going to take a long period of time, just understand we're talking months and months here, not days and days. So if you're in any sort of rush to get into something with this guy, I'd really caution you to slow your roll and just be like, just pump those brakes a little bit, and just be open with him if he wants to talk about things, but uh, really dial down the timeline and just enjoy each other's company and proceed on the friends track and see if things kick up after that. Um, all right, guys. It's got so many people. Thank you so much for being here. This is on a Saturday morning, Saturday night. You guys are awesome. Let's see. Okay, Stacy. Hey, Stacy. Should I? Where did this question? There we go. Should I take it to heart if a man I've been dating 2 months, exclusively 1 month, over 10 dates, made plans with family as opposed to seeing me on Valentine's? Also, my birthday is next week and no plans yet. Okay, so let's break this down, Stacy. Okay, so 10 dates, right? So normally on the channel, in the videos I typically talk about, in the very beginning, you want to limit your availability. You have your own life. Never put anything aside for a man. He doesn't want you to do that. So I just want to open with that and make that clear. Based on the amount of dates you've had in the 2 months, it sounds like you pretty much, the frequency is about once per week, 10 in 2 months. If he wants to go see, if he has plans to see family on Valentine's Day, look, it's only been 2 months. Like, you guys are still in the honeymoon phase. Things are still really, really new. I can just tell you that my family, I see them twice a year. I'm in Los Angeles. My family's on the East Coast. So I don't know the specific situation about where his family is located relative to where he is. But if I'm going to see my family, I make plans way in advance. And it would typically be around a holiday, Definitely Christmas or Thanksgiving, or where I go, it's really nice in the summertime. So typically around 4th of July, sometimes like Memorial Day on the earlier end of things in the summer. So I would just say I wouldn't really pay any attention to that. Now, okay, I have got my own thoughts about Valentine's Day being a Hallmark holiday and whatever. When you're with a partner, you should be showing that love and affection all throughout the year, just like showing your appreciation for your parents and not lumping it all on Mother's or Father's Day. So if he's got plans with family, but he is seeing you consistently, and on average, we're talking about here once per week for 2 months. I think this guy is invested in you, and I think this guy uh, isn't playing games with you. I think um, he's made the effort to see you. Just let when is this? Get out of here. Go. There we go. Just like you've made the effort to see him. It's been a perfect exchange where you guys have met up. I assume he hasn't skipped out on dates. Maybe he was running late, but he's shown up. So he's invested. After 3 dates, a guy's invested. So, um, and because it's only been 2 months when you talk about your birthday being the next week, he I don't know if he even knows it's your birthday. I know it's important to you. Like our birthdays are important to us. We want to make plans with our friends and have something going on. But yeah, Valentine's Day, he might not see the importance that maybe you see in Valentine's Day. He just wants to go see his family. Maybe he doesn't really see them much, even if they live close by. Mom might have locked him down and been like, "Hey, son, um, we have an opportunity here with the family. Let's go off and do it." Family's always going to take precedence over a new person you've been dating for 2 months. So you're in a good place. After this week, Valentine's Day is over. You're going to keep dating this guy and you're going to keep having a great time with him. So just keep doing that. Keep the frequency. I really like that. Hopefully he's being the proactive one, and that's how guys really get invested, is when they're the ones kind of pursuing and organizing and setting up dates and doing all this great stuff. So Stacy, thank you for the question. I hope that helps. All right. And Spooky, I see. Thank you, Spooky's in here chiming in on people's questions. Oh, okay. Stacy's family's nearby. He also mentioned being low on money, so wanted to be considerate. Yeah, 2 months. 6 months. As you get past 3 to 6 months, and you guys have had conversations about it, but really there's just no expectations that have been set, so I wouldn't worry about it. Let's see. You guys are sending in great questions here. I'm just trying to, let's see. Okay, gotcha life dreamer. I need help in caps. I like this guy and he always teases me and makes me laugh. However, he never wants to spend time with me. Does he like me or is he just trying to be nice? Okay, I made a video on does he like me or is he just being nice? I don't know if you checked that one out. This one, in that video, I distinguish two different types of guys. You've got the average guy who's just kind of responding to stimuli in the environment and reacting. And then you have the more charming guy who is a little bit more methodical. He has an approach pretty much to everything, especially his interactions with women. So based on your question, he teases you and makes you laugh. This by itself is not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough to say, this guy likes me. Why? Because there are people that are in this world that just want to, when they interact with people, they just want to make other people feel good and feel comfortable. One major reason for that is that uh, it makes them feel comfortable. So if they can disarm someone and make someone feel calm, it's going to make them feel comfortable. So if he's teasing you and making you laugh, he could be testing to see if your senses of humor are, in alignment, if it would work out, kind of long term in that sense. But based on just that, it's not enough. You're going to need to see some serious body language signals. And if you know this guy and he's in your sphere, hopefully not a coworker, because we don't do relationships with coworkers. I've made that incredibly clear on this channel. If you know this guy, look for consistency in different situations, body language. Anytime a guy touches you, like on the shoulder as he's talking to you briefly, or you're getting that full smile. Oh, and by the way, speaking of all of this, I've got two really great videos coming out based on a question I asked about body language. You guys answered a few weeks back. So I made two awesome body language videos dissecting guys' body language and then dissecting women's body language and how you can utilize that to show a guy you're interested without having to tell him. So those are coming up in a couple weeks. So you guys stay tuned for that. But Got You Life Dreamer, gonna need a little bit more than that. He could just be, being nice with you. La la. Let's see. Michaela, hey Michaela, I've been talking to a guy on Bumble since September and we're still just friends. I want more. How do I get past the friend stage? Okay, so a couple questions immediately pop in my head. You've been talking to this guy on Bumble since September. Have you guys hung out yet? Or have you guys just been like messaging on Bumble? And I'm interested when you guys say, hey, we're just friends. Is that a classification that you made because he's being friendly through Bumble and he keeps talking to you over this course of time, so you just feel like you're friends? Or did he say you guys were just friends when you hung out? I'm gonna say, like, it's September, that was a minute ago. That was like 6 months ago. So, one thing I really try to convey in some of these videos is, I'd really like to create a situation where you guys can just get super fast with your sorting processes of how you engage men, interact with them, and size them up as and classifying them as being someone you're just going to be friendly with, or someone that you could, want to have a fling with, or someone that you can see something long term with. And obviously, there are different tracks and different checklists that you're going to go through to suss all of that out. So one of the biggest things, and I think Michaela's question is an important one. Oh, okay. Michaela says we've hung out multiple times and we've referred to each other as friends a couple of times. Okay. So based on that and some of the other comments that I've gotten in videos is, friends isn't a bad thing. If a guy is seeing you consistently over a period of time and you guys are friendly with one another, I know it can feel like a tease maybe for some of you guys that want more with these guys. And I would say in that case, it's you really need to be proactive, because clearly the guy isn't kicking it up a notch and kicking the classification from friend to, friends with benefits, or someone that I want to make my girlfriend. So if I can instill in all of you this proactive sense of going after what you desire and being shameless about it. And I'm not just talking about guys here. Let's expand this out to just being like going after the promotion and asking your boss for the salary that you want and being unapologetic about it and using the crazy eyes a little bit to get what you want. I use the crazy eyes a little bit. No, but I'm just saying intently going after those things. So, Michaela, if you're not happy with the situation and now it's been 6 months, and if you're kind of, you know, thinking about this guy a lot and he's consuming all of your mental, facilities when it comes to your romantic life and guys, then there are two options for you. You either just need to say, hey, man, like, we should go on a date sometime. Just be like, text me to set it up. And if you say, hey, we should go on a date sometime, that's immediately, without you saying, like, I have feelings for you and doing all this. This is kind of like the intermediate step. Hey, we should go on a date sometime. And he'd be like, okay. And just be like, yeah, text me and set it up and bounce out of there. Just let him sit with however he wants to interpret that and see if he sets up like a proper date, not where you're hanging out or you've got other friends involved. Hey, we should go on a date sometime. Uh, and if he's not getting it, if he's just like, some guys are they're not there. They're just not going to be there with you where you are. You want to save your time. So if he's not getting it, and you maybe you don't have a lot of time to spend with people with your social life. Maybe you're busy with work and everything. You really need to prioritize your time and the people you're spending time with. And maybe he's one you got to boot, so you can open up that space, create a void where someone can step in that wants to see you in that light and see you romantically and all of that. So might be time to cut your losses, Michaela. uh you know this boy is either getting it or he's not getting it, but it's up to you, clearly, because he's not doing it. It's up for you to press the issue in the way that you're going to do it, and you really have nothing to lose, it doesn't sound like. You're on Bumble, so clearly you're able to interact with other guys and bring other guys in. Take a shot, take a chance, experiment, try different things to see if you can get their attention. Use your humor. You have to use the things, uh, your arsenal of personality traits, your arsenal of skill sets to get the guy. And you want to get creative with it. And that's why this whole dating thing, it's a volume play. You got to try different stuff out and see what works. And again, you should be shameless about it. You should be not worried about what the outcome is, because you don't have much invested. Like, you guys are friends. Sure, maybe you don't want to lose the friendship, but sometimes you have to roll the dice and risk a friendship or two to get things to where you want them to be. So hopefully that is helpful, Michaela. Okay, let's see here. Amalie, Amalie, Amalie. Okay. Hi, Ryan. I'm a girl, have a crush on my roommate, boy. He doesn't seem he doesn't seem to be interested in me right now. What do you think I should do? I'm trying to talk to him as often as I can and invite him to things. Okay, time out. Your roommate? So you live with this guy. All right. So your roommates, your coworker, this is all in the same grouping. This is all the same. People have heard the saying, don't blank where you eat. I'm not going to say the word because I don't need to, but I'm a huge, huge advocate and proponent of that. I used to work in the restaurant business and date coworkers, and it was terrible. Just looking back on my 20s, wow, what was I thinking? So it's natural for us to become attracted to people that are in our sphere and that we see constantly. And that's why the workplace, and that's why your living space, people become familiar to us in those situations. And it's natural for us to become attracted to them. But what happens when, let's just say, you invite him to these things, like you said, and he shows up and things work out? And you guys go back to your place, and, this and that happens. And, now you guys are kind of seeing each other, but you're living together. But then a couple weeks later, he starts seeing someone else. And now things are just really, really awkward, really bad, really bad. Um, there is a small percentage of a chance that you could, together with your intuition and your combined emotional intelligence, figure out how that works. I don't know if there are other roommates that are living there, but that's what would compound the awkwardness and just make that a really, I'm sure, spooky, maybe Jax. Jax, you guys will jump in here. What do I have this stop tattoo? I'll tell you in a second. But you have to think about the full environment. So if there are other roommates involved, just want to extrapolate this out like 1 month, 2 months, 6 months out. Especially if you're really like living at this place, moving sucks. Moving sucks, right? It's one of the top three things that people get most stressed about is moving. So do you potentially want to put yourself in a situation where things start to work out with this guy? They're hot and heavy in the beginning, and then things fizzle out, and now it's just kind of weird. And now either he's in a situation where he feels like he has to move, or you feel like you're in that position, and now you just need to jump ship and find a different living situation. If I can caution you on any level, as someone who has done this in the workplace, and had things with girls that were just like, we're done with their shift, we go to the bar down the street, and now I had to see that person every single day for years on, in some cases, and see like the new guys that she was dating, because they would come into the restaurant. It's incestuous, it's nasty, it's wrong. So there are going to be other guys. We need to get you out of your living environment and dating guys outside of where you live. And if anything, this guy should just be a friend and an ally, and maybe someone that you come home to and you guys are on the living room couch and you can just laugh about the terrible first date you just went on with a guy, and he can kind of chime in and be a real like ally, in the sense of giving you like his insight on maybe what happened on that date. You can leverage that and use that to your advantage as you see other people, and build a friendship with your roommate. And then once you guys inevitably are going to move out of that space, maybe you guys can reconnect and move in together, just the two of you, and maybe it can work out that way. But Amalie, I'm screwing names up. I did this last live. I apologize, but hopefully that helps. Tread lightly, be cautious with these relationships. Reina Pacheco, she made it. She said it was going to be too early for the live. Reina, funny story. After I saw your comment on the community thread, Reina said it was going to be 7 a.m. in Mexico, her time. It was 9 a.m. LA time when we started. I looked at the map, looked at the time zones. I said, Reina, there is no way it's 7 a.m. anywhere in Mexico, because everything is further east than LA. So Reina, so happy you could make it on. Reina's awesome. She's always commenting in video threads. Okay, it looks like Spooky is talking to her. Let me see if I can find the thread. But I just want to say hey to Reina. Okay, so I'm not sure where the thread starts, but it looks like Spooky and Reina are conversing about it. You guys get any feedback from spooky. She's spot on. She's just been great. So listen to her opinion. She's got really good stuff to say. Okay, Danielle. Hey, Danielle. Hey, Ryan. 4 exclamation points. Love the enthusiasm and energy, Danielle. Had a great date that lasted 7 hours, movies, dinner, and shopping. Lots of flirting. He said he wanted to kiss in text after the date, but wasn't sure if I'd be receptive. Let's see. I told him I would have, and he said great. And then there wasn't. Then he told me there wasn't a love connection. Totally confused here. Yeah, this sounded just bizarre from the beginning. I had a great date. I'm just gonna assume that was a first date. Um, like when things last 7 hours. So, excuse me 1 second. This caffeine is really helping. It's bringing me to life. Okay. When guys have long first dates with you, a couple different things could be happening. Okay. One common thing is that guys are really trying to get on board with you. The issue is when they first meet you and all of their intuition and everything in their mind is telling them that you're not a good fit or you're not a good candidate. But what we do is we'll hang in there. And because we feel like we've invested maybe all the lead up texts to set up that first date or just all of that initial interaction, we're almost looking for some sort of payoff. I'm not talking about like sex necessarily or anything physical, but just some sort of payoff where we can say, that was a good use of time. So what ends up happening is you go on these dates and they start latching on to things that you say, like common interests, and they start creating threads in their mind of, this could work. And they start working against their intuition. It already said, like, this is not a viable choice. But they're like, oh, okay, you like volleyball? Okay, I've played volleyball once in my life. Tell me more. It's kind of like this thing where they're kind of getting lured in. So you because the date's so long, you end up doing all of these activities together. So you got to see him in 3 different settings: dinner, a movie, and shopping, which is like, was he spending money on you? It's kind of a bizarre thing for a first date. And then the text would suggest that he already knew that this wasn't a love connection as he stated. And I think that was probably the most accurate thing about the whole date and the interaction, was that he just wasn't feeling the love connection. But the whole, hey, I wanted to kiss, and if he wanted to kiss you, he would have kissed you after a 7-hour date, because clearly things were going well. If things were awkward, like on your end, the date would have ended much sooner than that. So I think there's a little game plan there. Just kind of sometimes guys with their tests, man, and I'm guilty of this. Like, I'm not an infallible human being, certainly not in my 20s, but guys, and women alike, because women do this too, but guys test women. So they're like, I wonder if I went in for the kiss, if she would have kissed me back. Let me just ask her in text real quick and see what she says. So he gets the payoff of getting your feedback without having to take the risk of what most people have to do and just go in for the kiss without asking you. And he circumvented that whole process of you potentially rejecting him and the kiss. So next, like this, anytime you're confused, your gut is telling you something is off here. This is wrong. This is not a good fit. So if you can take those moments and just really internalize them and say, okay, this experience taught me X. I know now when I'm confused or things are feeling wishy-washy or I'm just getting a whole bunch of mixed signals over, certain period of time. This isn't the right guy. This isn't the right guy. I need to keep searching. I need to keep looking. Like I say, this is a volume play game. I get flamed in the comments for saying that. I get, people are like, "Oh, those are games." No, no, no. These are sorting processes. You have to go through. Uh, uh, the biggest thing is to protect yourself and screen people that are going to be terrible for you or may even be harmful for you. So just take note of that when things are just feeling like they're slowly, gradually building, and they just stay on this trajectory that's just really slow and gradual, but the trend is up. Doesn't have to be like this. I'd be really nervous about something like, oh my god, this guy's amazing, this guy's great. No, no, we want this. We're in a marathon game here. We're not in a sprint game. Sprints are easy to run. We wear ourselves out in 10 seconds and then we're done. But the marathon, that's harder. But consistency, that's all we want here. So next, let's see what the next guy brings. This guy, he already told you there's no love connection. So you already know what to do after that. All right, guys, let's see. Rhonda. Hey, Rhonda. Guy I've known for 12 years and dated then. We're just friends. I'm not sure what that means. He did break my heart in the past. Now says he adores me and wants to be together and even mention marriage. Wow, that's bizarre. A little bizarre, no? He's been confusing for he okay, hold on. He's been confusing for he wants me to be a type of woman I am not, but things I should change. I should just change, but then tells me to be myself. Very confused. I'm glad I read this as the next question because I'm going to tuck this in to the previous question because it's the same classification. This guy is giving you such mixed signals. First of all, he broke your heart. So a lot of you know how I feel about exes and trying to get back together with your ex. That trust is severed. It will never be the same again. And if it didn't work the first time, what are the chances it's going to work a second time? Just saying. Or if you want to try to just be friends with that person, if it didn't work out romantically, what makes you think it's going to work out as friends? It's not, or it might have the appearance of working out, but really that trust, that underlying fear of him hurting you again will always be bubbling up, and that just doesn't go away. It can be minimal, it can be way low, but it's always there, and it always should be there because that's there to protect you, to remind you of what happened the last time. It's there to help you. So just and then this guy comes on so strong. He like is not even like shameful about, hey, uh I'm sorry about what happened, but I really feel like I screwed up. Like he didn't apologize. He just says, I adore you. If he adored you, why did he break your heart? And then he's talking about marriage. So he's just going over the top and saying, hey, like planting the seed, like, dude, you're a weirdo. Like you're so off base, you're so off the reservation. Um, Another tread lightly. I would just cut off communication with this guy, honestly, especially since he's telling you that he wants you to become a different person. Excuse me. Yeah. And then tells you he wants to be yourself. Very confused. If a guy leaves you confused in the beginning, he's going to be leaving you confused your whole life. Let's be honest. We want to find those threads of consistency. So those threads of him being a generous person, for example, him working at a soup kitchen and giving his time and volunteering, and him just you seeing a record of that happening over months and months, that's something you can count on. Hey, this guy is generous with the homeless and with needy people and wants to help people. There's a track record of that. But if there's a track record of him confusing me, that's not going to go away, and that's never something that you should attempt to change, because that is a losing battle. That is a losing battle. So Rhonda, eh, 12 years, that's a long time to know somebody. I get it. You feel you know them. But you know what? I've known people for 12 years. I've known women for 12 years. And, if I were to be single right now, there's no way in hell that I would get within 10 feet of them, because I just know that it wouldn't go anywhere. It's just not a good fit. So hopefully that helps, Rhonda. All right. Let's see. Man, Shirley. Hey, Shirley. Shirley McKinney Horniak. I think I said that right. I think I nailed that. Hi, Ryan. I've been I've been sick with the flu for the past 3 days, and my fiance is pouting and sulking because I can't be there with him. I feel bad, but I can't help it. He's kind of giving me a short attitude. How should I react? Your fiance is not taking care of you while you're sick with the flu. Does he not know that this is flu season and people get sick, and the flu is like a debilitating, you know, sickness that can ruin like a week or even up to 2 weeks of our lives? Your fiance, you guys aren't even married yet. This guy should be bringing you chicken soup, or I don't know if you're supposed to feed the flu, feed a cold, starve a fever. I don't know the whole thing. But the point is, he should be taking care of you. Okay. I had this intestinal thing a few weeks back. Who was right there by my side in the ER? Brittany. She was right there. Okay, we're married. We've been married for a couple years. But you know what? Even if we were not even engaged yet, you know what? I could count on her being there and sitting there with me for 6 hour. We were there forever, 6 hours, and like the whole coronavirus. Like, there's just a lot going on in hospitals right now. But anyway, hightailed it out of there, got healthy, fortunately. So yeah, you hopefully you're feeling better now. If I can just be the first one to say it, if no one said it, like, I hope you're better. Hopefully your fiance has asked, "Hey, how you feeling?" And what's this like impatience with him? You not being there with him? Like, what does that mean? Um, Look, you guys are engaged. Uh, I think you guys have a commitment with each other, right? So, but a few things need to get sorted out with this boy. Like, let's be frank. Before you get married, you need to have some real frank, honest conversations with your partner, because either we forget to ask these questions through the courtship process, or it's just he he or she exhibits a behavior that maybe you hadn't seen before, and now you need to dig a little bit deeper and ask some questions. This is definitely one of those situations. I don't know if you've been sick before in his presence. I don't know how long you guys have been together, or if this is like a first, but it's really selfish behavior that is probably going to exhibit itself in other ways that aren't going to be favorable to you. If there's like a little bit of narcissism there, like me, me, me. I'm not sure if you guys are planning to have children, but what is that going to look like? You see what I'm saying? Like, this is definitely a period of time when you need to start asking him some questions, and maybe even throwing some scenarios at him as to, you know, what if we're in a situation, we have two children and I get the flu, then are you going to take care of our kids? I mean, like, that's kind of an extreme example, but uh he should be there and encouraging you to hydrate and rest and letting you sleep. I'm hopefully you guys are living together if you're engaged, so you guys get to experience that, living with your partner before marriage. I feel that's really important, but that's just really crummy. And you know, if he was sick, you'd probably be taking care of him, right? So now that you're healthy, I might point that out to him. Just be like, I was really kind of surprised with the fact that um, you weren't really like taking care of me or doing anything like that. It just really given me pause to kind of look at things and be like, man, like, what if I get really, really sick for a long period of time? Are you just gonna like pack up and leave? Like I'm extrapolating and getting, kind of crazy with it, but I'm just saying, like, uh, uh, I hope. I think it was Shirley, right? Shirley. Yeah, I'm just hoping that you guys can have that conversation, and it would be uh, you get the right answer. You get an answer that you're really hoping for. What is this? Oh, a super chat. Oh, I've never gotten a super chat. I've just read about this. A super chat. So Caroline Kenzie uh, donated $9.99. Thank you so much uh, for donating that to the channel, Caroline. Um, your question. He offered to take me to a bar, but I haven't set up a date yet, and calls me beautiful and texts. Is it an indicator he could be a player? Never went out together yet. Okay, so Caroline, I could be reading into your question a little bit too much. I feel like I might do that in comments and on these live threads, but it's just based on how you're wording things. I'm kind of trying to identify exactly what you're trying to ask when I do that. Okay. So he offered to take you to a bar. Okay. Like first date, a bar, it's not that committal. It's you guys are just going out and drinking at a bar. But I haven't set up a date yet. And calls me beautiful in text is an indicator it could be a player. So what I find interesting about your question is that you haven't set up a date yet. So there's something in your gut and your intuition telling you that there's something off here. Am I right? And it could be because of the next thing you say, which is he calls me beautiful in text. Is that an indicator that he could be a player? Now, I don't know. In most situations, what would most people say in that situation? Okay, guy is texting me beautiful. You guys haven't gone on a date yet, so maybe he's just seen maybe a profile picture of you on a dating site, or maybe you guys had one interaction in real life. But maybe him saying beautiful is disingenuous to you in some way and sending you up a red flag in your brain that this guy playing me. Now this could you jumping to that reaction, that could be from some other stuff in your history with other guys where this has happened before and they were players and you got burned and this guy ghosted you and he or maybe one or more, and it's just a trend that you've seen. Never went out together yet. You know what? You should just go out with this guy. I mean, okay, look, if your gut, if it's just like, oh, but if you feel like you're combating and saying, no, 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 like I want to give this guy a chance, anytime we find any part of ourselves saying, hey, I want to give this person a chance based on what you said, I mean, I I couldn't ever say that this guy, yeah, this guy is definitely a player. You definitely shouldn't go out with him. And I also want to be cautious because I don't want to say, hey, you should go against what your gut and what your brain are telling you about a particular individual. Our intuition is something that is wholesome and something that flows through us and something that should be listened to. But if there's another voice in your brain that's kind of on like you know in alignment with your intuition, a part of your intuition saying, you know what, um Caroline, this is You're only saying this because of what happened to you in the past. This new guy could be different. What's one date at a bar? What's one date? Is that really putting yourself out? Or is it potentially opening you up to an experience with a great new guy and it could go somewhere? So yeah, I would just say go for it. I mean, unless you think that if he said some other things that you didn't mention in your chat here, um, that makes you think like your safety is on the line, or he was like super aggressive with his physicality or something. If you met him in real life, then you guys are in a public space. Just handle it like you'd handle any first date. You've got your girlfriend on the hotline on the text, who can blow up your phone if you send the magic word like cantaloupes, and you send and she calls and you're like, oh my God, I gotta go. I'm out of here. Like, you know, so just have all of those precautions in line. But, if he's calling you beautiful, okay, maybe he's laying it on a little thick, but he's not saying you're ugly. He's not like saying demeaning things to you and hey, we should go out. I don't know. This sounds like it could be a nice situation. And if you go on the date, let us know how it goes. And thank you for the super chat. That's really sweet of you. It never happened before. I didn't even say anything about them because but that's a super chat. Thank you for it. Let's see here. I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Okay, that's a weird question. Not going to ask that one or mention that one. Okay, Dusanka. Falling in love with a friend is the biggest punishment in life. While I want something more, he only sees a friend in me. I never want to lose him as a friend. What should I do? Okay, thank you, Sanka, for asking this question. So I don't know if all of you have seen the video from that I released on Monday. And if you haven't, you should check it out because Brittany, this is her first video that she's in. And it's just a really, it's just a really sweet video. And you get to hear a lot from Brittany about our marriage. And one of the things that she says in that video is when Brittany and I were first dating, it was kind of a fling type thing. It kind of started that way. And one thing that she mentioned, and I felt the same way, but I'm glad it came out of her mouth in this video from Monday, uh, is that she was worried about losing the friendship. But it sounds like your sip of coffee, your sights are set on something bigger. And a friendship is the bedrock to long standing relationships. And a friendship is really, really like a real friendship with transparency and self disclosure. Those aren't a dime a dozen. Those are really, really hard to cultivate. Especially if you're spending a lot of time with that person and you could be spending that time with other people. You're not spending that time with other people because this is the person that you want to be spending time with. I understand when you say it's the biggest punishment in life. I can understand what you mean by those words, although I disagree with you on a fundamental level, but I understand your angst and I understand what you mean by that. Um, if you never want to lose him as a friend, then don't lose him as a friend. Uh, you can be in love you can love a friend, but you're saying it being in love, that connection with someone when it's real and it's something that you both really invested, you want to cherish that at all costs. Because, like you said, the last thing you want to do, you say, I never want to lose them as a friend. Don't lose them as a friend. Why? Because it's not worth it in the end. Because you're going to be more devastated losing your friend than you would be if he felt the same way and things don't work out. That's different. No, no, let's just say you didn't have the friendship with him and you just started dating this guy and you guys were great for 6 months and then it didn't work out. You'd be more devastated losing the friend in this guy than you would the boyfriend in this guy. Even though that would suck and that would be terrible, this would be worse. So I would just say if you can rush in all of the positive aspects of that relationship and test the waters in terms of your body language and just if he says something funny and this is coming up, some of the stuff is coming up in my extensive videos on body language and I hope you guys really like these videos because I put a lot into them. Pretty solid stuff. If he says something funny, I want you to lightly push him on the shoulder or on the chest real quick. Just give him a little shove. You instead of using your words of being like, "Hey, I've been doing a lot of thinking, and this is just like I got to get this off my chest." I want you to start testing the waters with body language, and putting your hand on him when he's talking and doing other things, and see what kind of feedback you're getting. He might be saying that he just wants to be friends, but Brittany and my story would suggest that you guys could naturally get to the place where it starts as a friendship, and then the natural place to go is you guys are an item with that foundation of a friendship underneath it. So this is a tread lightly situation, but I would say if you can really amp up your eye contact and just kind of when you're in his intimate zone, which is a 2 foot sphere around him when you're close with him, really work that eye contact, really work a full smile where you're showing the top and the bottom teeth and all of your facial muscles are engaged, not like a fake smile. Like we all know what a fake smile is. And just really pepper him with body language signals. That's going to be your best bet here. If you don't want to lose the friendship, because you don't want to lose that, you don't want to lose that at all. Body language is your key to entry to possibly getting to something greater. So when these videos come out in 2 weeks and then in 4 weeks, I believe, the 4 weeks is the female body language video. 2 weeks is the male body language video. Those are going to help you in this situation. I guarantee it. And you just wash, rinse, and repeat those body language. You're looking for signals from him, obviously, but things that you can utilize with your own body language to kind of escalate interest to see where things go, but preserve the friendship at all costs. Let's see, guys. Okay, we're about an hour in, so why don't I take like one or two more questions? Sound good? And then we'll call it a day. I'm so grateful that you guys join me on a Saturday morning to do this. I hope you guys are all having a good time and getting something out of this. We've got a great variance of questions, people, situations. So this is great. Julie, okay, this maybe we'll end with. Well, let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna answer two more questions, and I picked them out. The last one is like pretty heavy, so that sounds like a good one to end on. Donna, just pretty straightforward. How long should you wait for a guy to be in a serious relationship with him? 6 months, 1, 2, 3 years, or more? I mean, to be a couple, and then you say marriage. Okay, a serious relationship is something that is you guys are going to get to a place where you're going to have a conversation about being exclusive with one another. So this isn't a cookie cutter uh, timeline. Everyone's going to be on a different timeline. The goal is that you're both syncing up your feeling of, yeah, this makes sense. Like, we definitely need, this is the guy that I want to be exclusive with. This is my boyfriend. Yes, this is my girlfriend. You guys naturally get to a place, and it happens very naturally, and it's kind of like a no-brainer thing for both of you. This isn't something like it feels like an uphill battle. It's just something that it comes out of your mouth, and then it comes out of his mouth, and it feels good. It wasn't a tough conversation to have. Um, but the idea is that you just want to be, consistently seeing each other. You want to consistently see positive signs from the other person. You want to really check in with your own emotions and make sure that he makes you feel good inside, and that you're not just sticking around because of, oh god, the sex is really good, or he just, he's really good to his family but he's not good to you, that kind of thing. You just, you don't want to be infatuated with him, where you're just obsessing about him. It's something that grows naturally. It's not something that, spikes up real fast and like, I need to lock this guy down. That's infatuation. That's not love. Love is that marathon track. It's going to feel like this, and it's going to be natural. You're not going to get much pushback from him. So, after that 3 month mark, that's when that, those rose colored glasses just like fall off your face. You kind of know what you're involved with. And if the feeling is still the same for both of you, it could be an exclusive, could happen shortly thereafter. Or you guys might feel like you don't even need to have the conversation right away. It's something you could do later as a formality. But yeah, just look for those signs. Him being consistent with his behavior, him making you feel good, him, showing up on dates, not doing weird stuff, not being secretive, not, just things where it's like, what was that about? Like, you want to have those instances be minimal. So yeah, it's going to be different, and not just going to be different with you, with every guy that you date. Like, oh, the 6 month mark, gotta lock this guy down. No, it depends on the guy that you're dating too. What might be 6 months with one guy, it might be a year and a half with another. It just all depends on how you guys gradually get to, hey, yeah, you want to do this exclusive? I'm not dating anybody. Are you dating anybody else? Oh, my boyfriend? Okay. Just like that. Just like that. All right, let me go back and see if I can find Julie's question. Okay. Julie asks, so this is gonna be the last question, guys. Again, thank you. Thank you so much for showing up today. How do you break through chronic datelessness and being invisible to men? Tried flirting and online, but nothing helps. Just never get asked out. Okay, so this is a deep question, and this is something that I know a lot of us go through, not just women. I went through this where you just feel like you're striking out. You just feel like whatever you do, nothing's working. Nothing is working. And I want to bring up the video that I just did with Brittany that we released on Monday, because this tucks in with that. And it was, I asked her, do you have anything furthermore that you want to tell the group? And she said she had like pearls that she was throwing out. And one of the things that she touches on, and you could check out her full explanation of what she says in the video, but basically it boiled down to her meeting me. She met me when she wasn't looking. She was fully invested in her passions. She's a designer, so she was the leader of different design groups, and she was just fully invested in her life. And it wasn't about guys. She wasn't even trying. She was not on any online dating platforms. Even when she would meet guys out, she would actually be like, yeah, yeah, cool. Like, I'm not really interested in seeing anybody right now. I've got my career, I've got my life. So, she had some really good things to say about that. And I would just add to it that when you're in this position of just feeling totally helpless, when you double down on yourself, and this is not an easy thing to do. It takes a little practice. But when you can find happiness and you can find a victory in one other small area of your life and double down on it, you can leverage that success and have it overflow to your dating and romantic life. You can do that. And just having the proper tools, and I might even make a video on this because it's I'm all about the psychological deep dives, right? So that's definitely like what this is. So creating something that really gets in there deep, because I know a lot of us have been through this before, and a lot of us, or a lot of you in the group, might be going through this right now, like Julie. Give her a little shout out if you feel her pain, because it's a painful thing to be going through. So, um, just never getting asked out. It's just time for a timeout. That's all the universe is trying to tell you. Julie, time to take a break in the male department. It's probably that the stock, the stock of guys in your vicinity or in your sphere or in your world right now, it's just they're either distracted, or they're, yeah, like with other women or doing other things. The timing, it's just not your time right now. Right now. That's not to say that it isn't your timing soon. So what I would focus on is, if you can just focus on getting your life set up, not for a guy, but for you, and really flush out, like, do you have a bucket list? Find something on that bucket list. Find a skill set that you've always wanted to have, like public speaking. Like, this was like, starting this channel is one of the hardest things I've ever done. I was terrified. My last YouTube live was way, way more stressful than, putting up my first video where I could edit it. But now it's like I kind of got through the hump, and everyone was really encouraging, and it was just a really, um, and people like Spooky and Jax and, Raina, who's also in here, who's been in the comment threads of videos, like, everyone's just really encouraging. So Julie, I would just say that you have a community here. You guys all have a community here where you can always come in and ask a question. And if I don't get to you, somebody else is going to get to you. But I will try to get to you. And I have always tried to get back to everyone and had some touch point with everyone on some level. I really try to do that. But if you can just find one passion, maybe you're currently doing it, or maybe it's something you just, God, I want to go for this. And just do a timeout. I know you want it now. I know you feel like, I need a guy. It could be for whatever reason. It could be for validation purposes. You might have an event coming up with family, like a wedding. Weddings are like the classic one where it's like, God, I'd really like to have a date to this wedding, just to show, my social circle and my family that, I'm seeing someone and that I'm happy. And it's like, you can find happiness right now. And a guy doesn't need to be that sorts of happiness right now. I'm telling you, I felt like that way with women back in my 20s. It was that when I had my heart broken, there was a dark 3 years. I mean, not 3 months, 3 years. And Brittany knows all about it, because the work I had to do on myself to get to a place where I could even meet someone like Brittany. It's just a process you have to go through. So, Julie, you're going through this process right now. Embrace it. I mean, just like bear hug this thing. because you know what? We only get a few moments in our life where we can really do the hard work that's front loaded. So it's all up front. But when we really dive in and do that work, it's going to pay dividends moving into the future. I mean, dividend. We're talking years. I'm talking decades. The work that you do right now when you're just scraping the bottom of the barrel and you're at your lowest, you are dateable. Okay. You are worthy of a man's attention. But it's not about that right now. I know these are the things you want to tell yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm not, because you're getting this feedback from the world like there's no guys around. I must be something wrong with me. No, that's not what's going on here. It's just the timing is off, right? So it's to focus on other area of your life, boost that up because you have the power to control that. And then I guarantee you the timing changes. Timing is evolving. When you're so invested in this other thing and you're like, wow, I'm really glad I decided to do this, and all your focus is over here, that's when you meet the guy. That's what happened to Brittany. This is what she says, and she explains it, eloquently and thoroughly in the video. But what that process was for her, that's how it's going to happen. That's how it usually happens. It's just like I wasn't looking, and bam, there it was. So Julie, thank you for that question. Guys, thank you so much. Saturday morning, I just want to do a workout, go for a run. What are you guys going to do? Hopefully you're taking advantage. In the US, we've got a 3-day weekend. It's President's Day on Monday. So hopefully you guys have awesome plans. I'm so grateful that you made me and this YouTube Live a part of that plan. And I got a fun video. I just got a lot of good videos coming up, and I'm just they're a little bit longer, so I apologize for the 10-minute videos, but it's because I'm just getting so deep within these topics. I hope you guys stay to the end because hopefully the value doesn't stop for you. Some of the better stuff tends to be at the end as I'm summing everything up. But anyway, guys, love you, appreciate you. My heart is right here for you always, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you so much.